Good morning from Mawlamyine. The parade of tiny rooms continues. Here it is here, my new place at the Breeze Guest House. Let's see if I can back into a corner and try to give you a view of where I'm staying. I've got a lot I could say about this room, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the parade of tiny rooms in Myanmar continues, and now it's time to head out for breakfast, or head upstairs for breakfast. Apparently they have a breakfast, like a continental breakfast on a balcony upstairs, and it's overlooking the window, and they're quite proud of that. So let's go check out the view from the balcony. I'm not sure where this balcony is, but there is a tiny stairway over here heading upstairs. Oh no, this doesn't go anywhere, it just goes to some more rooms. Bathrooms are down in that direction. And this is the front lobby area. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Good, good, good. Slept well. Yeah.
Breakfast?
Yeah, for sure. This way. I was looking for the stairs. I couldn't find them. Oh, up there and then up.
Turn left, take all your shoes.
Thank you.
Right.
Ah, the hidden stairway. Wow, look at this. No, people seem to have left shoes here. So I will, oh, and he has a bell to indicate, I guess, that a guest is coming up. He rang the bell. Oh, wooden stairway. There's an aerial view down into the lobby. Quite a eccentric little place. Wow, check this out.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Oh, is that there for the breakfast? Okay, thank you. Ah, look at this large gathering room. I don't know if this is for guests or for the hotel, you know, family and staff. No, I think this must be for guests too. Got books here. Nice seating area there. And it looks like a kitchen is back here. Let's check out the view of the river. Very nice. Good morning. How are you? Pretty good. Yeah, I got here in the dark last night, so I didn't have a chance even to see where I was yet. You know, this is my first view. Yeah, very nice. And this is the, yeah, a couple of tables out on the balcony, so you can sit here, enjoy the view over breakfast. So for breakfast, you get some toast, a boiled egg, banana, instant coffee, some jam and butter, and they appear to be well known for kind of a meditation course that they offer. I think the owner is deeply into Vipassana meditation. Online, I read some other guests, you know, talking about this. And they give you this along with your breakfast in case you want an introduction to Vipassana meditation. I assume we've got some hot water in here for coffee, so let's try that out. And there's the view from my table. Very nice. Breakfast is over. It was a very simple breakfast: toast, banana, boiled egg, instant coffee. But I'm happy when anyone brings me any kind of food. You know, that means I eat something, because I'm often too lazy to eat myself. So it's good. Whatever I have for breakfast, I'm usually pretty happy about that. And my arrival here last night was pretty chaotic because I didn't even realize it, but as I was approaching my guest house, the battery on my microphone died. I was amazed it lasted as long as it did because my day began at whatever time I woke up in the morning, 4 a.m. or something like that. And the battery was still going on the microphone when I got here at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock by the time I got here. But just as I arrived at the guest house, the battery finally died. So it wasn't recording any audio, but I did get video of my entering the guest house and going up to the front desk to check in. And at that point, the battery on my GoPro died. So that's as far as my evening went. But I think that's okay because it was a long day and I recorded a great deal during the day on my train journey from Yangon to here. It was a great day, despite the heat of that train, the sun beating down on me. Couldn't get enough of that train ride. That was a very interesting, very, very beautiful countryside. Nice to get out of Yangon, I guess. So as I said, I'm staying at the Breeze Guest House, and I chose it largely because of the location. This neighborhood seems to be quite nice, and it has a nice spot right on the river. And of course, I heard about the balcony overlooking the river for breakfast. So that made it an easy choice for me, and it's a bit of a budget guest house. Checking in when I got here was an unusual experience in a way. In Yangon, check-in was pretty casual. It was often a little bit chaotic, but generally casual. Photocopy of your passport, away you go. But here they seem to have a lot of ledgers and forms that needed to be filled out, and they were quite a bit more serious about my visa for Myanmar, finding it in my passport, checking the dates on it, and then making a photocopy of my visa page as well as my information page. So it was a little bit more intense in terms of you being a foreigner in this country. That they seem to be keeping track of you a little bit more here. Perhaps they're just holding on to some older rules or older systems that maybe don't much matter anymore. I imagine in the old days, the police would come around and check the ledgers to see who's staying here, and all the paperwork had to be in order. Maybe they don't need to do that anymore. Maybe they do, I don't know. But it was a bit more involved than checking in at a guest house in Yangon. I have to say that in most ways I was pleasantly surprised by this guest house, and I still am. Considering it's a budget guest house, I was expecting something much smaller, more cramped, more disorganized, but it's actually outside of my room. It's actually quite spacious and kind of a solid building. It's an old building with these heavy railings and columns, giant wooden doors with glass windows. And as I pointed out coming in, a lounge area like this, and wooden staircases and things like that. Very high ceilings up here. So it's quite an interesting building. I could use a few more square meters in my room, and to be honest, a few more inches above my head. The ceiling is so low in my room, I'm practically hitting my head on the ceiling. And there are some issues with that room in terms of security and privacy and noise level and stuff like that. You know, that tends to come with budget guest houses, I guess. But this place as a whole, yeah, very pleased with it. If I find my single budget room too much to handle, I guess I can always upgrade to a larger room with air conditioning or something like that. I may end up doing that, we'll see. I don't think I'm going to do very much today. I'll probably stay in this neighborhood, probably have something to eat along the river. In my video from yesterday, you probably saw that there's all kinds of places you can eat beside the water. So I imagine I'll just stay in this neighborhood today, relax, you know, get feeling oriented, and then maybe tomorrow I will turn into a super tourist and go out exploring and go up into the hills to see the viewpoints and things like that. Or I might do something like that this afternoon. You just never know. There's my guest house during the daytime, the Breeze guest house. It's the balcony up top there where you have your breakfast. I think sitting up there in the afternoon like this would be a bit of a chore. That sun beating down. It's too hot to be up there. But it's very nice to be up there for breakfast. I've had an interesting experience at the Breeze so far. I arrived late last night and I booked a single room ahead of time for 4 nights. And the room is a fan only, you know, bare bones, single room, shared bathroom down the hall. And I'm fine with all of that. But when I showed up, there were a few issues with this room. For one thing, it was tiny. I mean, I'm used to small rooms, but this room is so small, you can't really move in it. And on top of that, it has security issues. There's 2 big windows in there, and the windows won't close. You're on the ground floor, the windows won't close, but there are screens on the inside, but the screens are also like windows and they can flip wide open. So anybody could just walk up to the room from the outside, stick their hand in the room and just grab whatever they want from anywhere in the room. You know, it's basically just a wide open. On top of that, when I moved in, there were dozens and dozens of these tiny little like fruit flies, like bigger than fruit flies, just kind of fluttering around all over the place as I was sitting there on my computer and having a cup of coffee and settling in. You know, they were just landing all over me, in my hair, all over the computer, and I killed them all night long until they're like these brown blotches all over the bedding, all over me, all over everything. So I wasn't thrilled about that. The bed itself was not comfortable at all. It was like a thin, hard mattress, really hard to get into and out of. And the sheet on the mattress was not a fitted sheet. This is a small thing, but it drives me crazy. Instead of being fitted around the corners of the mattress, it was just a regular rectangular sheet that had been tucked in on the edges. But it's so small that it will not stay tucked in. So the second you sit down, so the second you go to bed and you turn over, you basically just pull the whole sheet in from the edges, and then you're lying on the bare mattress. And I've had this experience before, and if you stick with that situation, you just spend so much time and hassle and energy and frustration builds as you're constantly trying to rearrange the sheet to stuff it back into the corners, get it to stay in place. But the second you flip over or do anything on the bed, it just pulls out from the edges and you're lying on the bare mattress again. All of this sort of stuff I can deal with and I can live through. But then this morning I woke up and the whole left side of my body was covered in bites from top to bottom in a straight line. And I have enough experience to know what they are. They're bed bug bites. So that was the final straw. So I went to the front desk and I'm in the embarrassing situation of telling them that, you know, I have an issue with the room. All the things I mentioned, you know, they can say, hey, $7 a night, what do you expect? But bed bugs are the one killer thing for almost everybody. So I lifted up my shirt and showed them the side of my body just covered in bites from top to bottom to show that I do have bites. And of course, they had the expected response. The first thing they said was, oh, you just got bit by mosquitoes. And I had to say, no, those aren't mosquito bites. Those are bed bug bites. And I have a mosquito net. And I had the mosquito net over the bed the entire night. So don't tell me they're mosquito bites. But then he had one more argument. He said, hey, did you come here by train from Yangon? And I said, yeah, I took the train, the day train. And he said, that's probably where you got bit. He said he's had lots of guests at his guest house who showed up, stay one night, and then the next morning they complain of bed bug bites, and it's almost always from the train. He says his guest house has no bed bugs. And I kind of believe him because I know how to find bed bugs, and I looked everywhere on the mattress, underneath, in the corners of the bed, all the places where they like to hide, and I couldn't see any bed bugs anywhere. There weren't any like red blood splotches on the walls or on the sheet, so nobody had killed any bed bugs around the headboard of this bed. So he might have been right about the train being the source of the bed bugs. But in the end, it may not have mattered at all, because he did what a good hotel manager should do in that case. He moved me to a new room. Like, he insisted that there were no bed bugs in that room, that I was bitten on the train. And that very well could be the case, especially if it's a night train, I believe it. But for me, it was a day trip, so it's less likely that I was bitten that badly while I was sitting on the train during the daytime in that heat. I don't think it would have happened, but hey, it's a possibility. But as I said, it doesn't really matter because he moved me to a new room. And this new single room is superior to my original room in every way. Like, the first room they gave me was clearly kind of tacked onto this guest house. I think they might have added on a section of the building, and they just kind of jammed in as many tiny little closets as they could, and they weren't really full rooms. But the room he moved me into was like one of the original single rooms of this guest house, and it's a full size, nicer bed, nicer everything. And this new room doesn't have any security problems. There's no windows to the outside world, There's just the one solid door, has a better fan, better bed. It's just a real room that I can be happy in, I think. And it's in a much quieter area. My original single room was very noisy indeed. The doors don't close properly on any of those rooms there, so all the people in the rooms around me were busy like slamming their doors to get them closed. So it was a pretty horrible little room, even for me and my low budget tastes. But this new single room is much better in every way, and hopefully there will be no bed bugs tonight. It's weird though, with me and bed bug bites, they last a long time. So the bites that I now have on my body are going to be around for, a week at least, maybe 2 weeks. They just sit there and fester for a very long time. It's just the way my body reacts to the bed bug venom or whatever it is they inject in you. I might have come out here a little bit early. It's like 4:30 right now, but it's still pretty hot. It's just that I've been in my room most of the day today, and I needed to go outside and stretch my legs, get some exercise. I thought I'd come down here, sit down, maybe have a cold drink, but it's a little bit hot to be sitting outside right now. Maybe I can find a place where I can sit inside. And here's all these places that I walked by late last night, or early in the evening yesterday, and they were all busy and full. Right now they're all just getting us set up again for the night. I often think about all the work that goes into these places. I mean, every day, Well, at the end of the night, of course, they have to clean up, pack everything into one of these trucks, take it all home, unload it there, whatever they need to unload. And then I'm sure during the morning and the day, they're at home, they're shopping in the market for new food, getting new supplies, chopping everything up, cooking what they need to cook. And then when it gets around this time of day, they load everything into the truck, drive it all back here, set up the table for the food, the cooking area, the stoves, the pots, the propane tanks. And then they have to set up all the chairs and tables, lay out all the food, serve all the customers, and then at the end of the night, they do it all over again and do it again tomorrow. It's a gorgeous day today. Look at that river and that sky, those boats. I wonder if I can walk out onto that pier, see if I can. My being here, you know, a foreign tourist, seems to mean more than it did in Yangon. As I walked through the area where they're setting up all the nighttime restaurants, a lot of people talked to me. Even yesterday when I walked through here, people, you know, called out to me, where are you from? And they said, oh, we have cold beer here, come back, have a drink. And people were doing the same thing now. The guy setting up, he said, hey, we have lassi here, you know, yogurt. Where are you from? Canada. Oh, cold country, you know. Come back, you know, have some yogurt, have some lassi. And, you know, just being a foreigner here seems to be a little bit more unusual than being a foreigner in Yangon. Nobody really responded to me much in Yangon. But here I'm at the center of a bit more attention. It is super quiet here. Almost too quiet. I can't believe I'm walking along this river and I don't see anyone at all, right? Look ahead of me, not a single person. A little bit of motorcycle traffic, a couple of cars on this Riverside road, but that's about it. Sun getting lower in the sky. About this time yesterday, I was still maybe hour and a half outside of the city on the train. Still on my way here. It's funny how I always seem to go places too early. When I came by yesterday, all these places were doing roaring, well, not roaring business, but they were open and serving cold beer. Customers all sitting at the tables. And now, when I'm in the mood for a cold beer, they're just getting set up. But now I have my eye on that big building ahead of me. There's a kind of a, not a shopping center, but some sort of Riverside center there. And they have a convenience store in there. Maybe I'll get a cold drink inside there. My cold drink doesn't have to be beer. It can be milk. Some milk would go down well. Riversides like this in a lot of cities always make me think that cities have their priorities all wrong. I think in almost every city I've ever been in that has a beautiful riverside like this, they always end up with a road right here, as if cars are the highest priority of all things. So you've got this, you know, gorgeous riverside property, and really access to it is completely blocked by this ugly, thick, wide stretch of asphalt. You know, it's dominated by cars. And cars don't need this, you know, they don't need this space, they don't need this view. So really, the road should be back, you know, 100 meters in that direction, and all of these businesses and homes and public spaces, they should all take over this space where the road is. So really, it's backwards to the way it should be. The way it is now, the road gets the prime real estate, and then all the human beings are banished to the other side of the road. And really, from a design point of view, from a livability point of view, should be flipped. The road should be back, and all the people should be moved forward. So why has it evolved that way? I often wonder that. Just when I thought it couldn't get any more confusing, now I've come across this spelling for this city. Mawlamyine. Mawlamyine. I demand a meeting with the mayor of this city. And I want to hear from the mayor himself or herself exactly how you say the name of this city, because I'm very confused. This is nice. Instead of walking back along the river, I popped down a narrow side street and I ended up on this kind of main street of this city, whose name I can't and will not pronounce. This is more of a regular street instead of the Riverside bars and restaurant street. I saw one bicycle shop over there, and they sell a brand I'd never heard of before called Trinx, Trinx bicycles, mountain bikes and road bikes, I think, but I'd never heard of the brand, so I don't know where they're from. I've seen quite a few people here, like locals, riding on, you know, nice new bikes, all decked out in Lycra gear with the helmet and the whole thing. So there seems to be some kind of a cycling culture here, cycling clubs maybe. One thing I've been keeping my eyes open for is a Ooredoo location, a place where I can buy a data package for my Ooredoo SIM card. I bought what I thought was more than enough to get me through 28 days, but the internet connection has been so poor in my guest houses that I've been using my phone's internet a lot, especially for uploading files. So I'm burning through a lot of gigabytes. They tell me that this is the 4th largest city in Myanmar, but I'm feeling like it has to be a distant 4th, because it feels much more like a town than a city to me. It feels much smaller than Yangon, of course, and significantly smaller than Mandalay. I mean, Mandalay felt like a big city. This feels like a pretty small place by comparison. I expected to see the hills and the pagodas from anywhere in the town, but you really don't see them. I think that they're behind these buildings here, but they're low enough that they don't actually rise above even 2-story buildings. Whew. Oh. Video. The video. Well, things are looking up here in this city. I found the big city market, and just outside the market are a bunch of food stalls. And they don't have any menus or anything in English. And I don't know the names of these dishes, but I did get something to eat. And the first dish is the kind of noodle dish with chicken, and they put a fried egg on top. I'll show you what it looks like. So there it is there. I was dying for some noodles, so I was glad to find this place. I have no idea what the flavor is or what's going on, so we'll find out in a second. Exactly what I needed. I wouldn't quite call it spaghetti, but it's pretty close. You know, it's almost a spaghetti dish. And the chicken is good too. And while I was talking to them about this dish, they were also making a kind of breaded dish, very similar to palata and martabak. It's kind of like palata, yeah? There's palata. Oh, okay. It is palata.
Chicken palata.
Chicken palata. At first, when I saw it, he gave it a different name. So I thought, oh, this must be something new. So I ordered one. And but just now they heard me say palata, and they're confirming that that's exactly what it is. So I'm having a palata, again, chicken palata. But I'm really hungry, so having 2 dishes, that's great. As I was saying earlier, it's a little bit different here than in soup. Also getting a bowl of soup. So and everyone is reacting to me like it's a big deal, you know, to have a foreigner having a meal at their stall. I didn't have that feeling in Yangon at all, you know, where they're quite used to foreigners. But here, I guess we're a little more rare. So my palata arrived. So this one is without egg. I remember now in Sumatra, it was like martabak telur was with egg. And this one is got a piece here. Palata, chicken palata. But there's no fried egg on this one. First impressions, very good. I like this palata much better than the one I had at the Golden Tea Food Center. This one is more light, not nearly as oily, and it has more of a bread feeling to it, you know, because it's not like soaking wet with oil. You actually get more flavor out of it. And the interior, you get more chicken flavor too. Very good. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but this is where they're preparing all the food behind me there. I remember now, I shot video of them making the martabak in Sumatra when they were like making the dough itself, you know, stretching it and pounding it and shaping it to the, you know, to the shape that they needed it. It was quite something to watch them in action. Here they have the dough already formed into little balls, and then they'll smash it and stretch it out into the square shape to make the palata. So this is all where all the preparation happens. Those the noodles and the chicken and all the sauces, and they do all their cooking here on this grill, no matter what it is.
Tabak.
Tabak?
Tabak.
Taban. I can't pronounce that. So there's the master chef, and I think that is the sauce that goes with the noodles. So that looks really good. And this is the dough, the little dough for the palata. Yeah, right there. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. See you again. Good night. This downtown area seems to shut down pretty early, so there isn't a lot of light out right now. I don't know how well you can see me. But I just finished my meal at the market. Oh, I really needed that. I didn't realize how hungry I was. That happens all the time. And my meal of, I guess it's almost like spaghetti, but I don't know what to call it. I don't know what the name is of the local dish. And then the palata plus the soup, and it came to 3,000 chat. So that's $2 US for that meal. Would I go there again? The Doug test? Absolutely. Glad I found that little spot there. Not just that stall, but there's a whole bunch of them there beside the market. And nice place to go to grab a meal. While I was having my meal, a lot of people were just zooming up on their motorcycle. They shout their order, they want something to go. They whip it up, put it all in plastic bags, give it to them, and they zoom off on their motorcycle, take it home again. Best of all, that spot isn't too far from my guest house. From there, it's just 1 block down to the river. That's where I'm heading now. You can just see the black inkiness of the river ahead of me. And there I turn left and walk just a few hundred meters to my guest house, I think. You also know you're in a different type of city to Yangon, because in all my time here, well, I've only been here for, a day and a half, but I've done a fair amount of walking already, and I really haven't seen any of the chain convenience stores. They just don't exist here. So, which for me is kind of a negative, because I like a good convenience store where I can get a bottle of ice cold water and know for sure that it's going to be cold. You can get water in lots of different shops, of course, but it's hit or miss, whether they're cool. Sometimes they have a cooler and you think, they'll have cold water. And then you buy it and you find out that the cooler wasn't even plugged in, something like that. That happens quite frequently in my experience around the world. So I've come to depend on convenience stores to a large extent. I love a good 7-Eleven, I really do. I've already learned that you really have to keep your eyes on the road here. Yeah, I'm down by the river. You can see how dark it is behind me. There's nothing there but the river. And a bit of light over here where the road is. But I found a lot of the motorcycles are driving without headlights. So the car comes by, kind of blinds me with its headlights. I lose my night vision, and then I look down the road. I don't see anything coming, so I think the road is clear. But suddenly this motorcycle comes out of nowhere because they're driving without lights, and I don't see them at all. So yeah, you got to be on your toes here. When I stepped out of my guest house this afternoon to go exploring, I thought I spotted a cooler in the lobby area. So I'm hoping that I can actually get a nice cold drink at my guest house. So I'm gonna see if that works out. This evening is full of discoveries. On the way back to my guest house, I found a cinema. Mingalar Bryant Cinema. Wow, look at this. I have no idea about these two movies. One called War, Hrithik versus Tiger, and then we have some kind of a period piece on the left, and then looks like some sort of a romantic comedy down here on the bottom. $2D prices, $3D prices. Huh. So that looks like something I can do at some point while I'm here. Check out a movie. So this is the front of the cinema. It looks like this movie is playing at 10 a.m., 12:30 p.m., 6 p.m., and 8:30 p.m. I don't know if any of the other movies are playing or not. They could be upcoming features. And here's Home Sweet Home. Breeze Guest House. Oh. And my first room was down there, down that hallway. And my new room is down here. B, room B. Right here. Ta-da. May not look like much, but believe me when I tell you, this is a huge improvement over room 15, my first room. I mean, for one thing, there's even space at the end of the bed. In my old room, the wall came right up to here. It could only fit the bed, and the bed itself was much narrower, and the ceiling was like so low, I practically had to crouch. And then I had a window over there that opened to the yard, and you couldn't close it, you couldn't seal it, so there's no security. Anybody could come in through the window. And there was a, the only ventilation was like this, is a screen. But in my old room, it was right here, like right at eye level. So anybody walking down the hall could basically just look directly through the screen into my room and onto the bed. So this is a much nicer setup. So that is the end of today, or that was just a short walk around the city. Just walked down the river, looking to see what there is to see. Had dinner, sunset, and now I came back to my new room, room B. It's time to shut down, and I'll see you in the next video. Unfortunately, this whole room switcheroo business has had a negative effect on my video hobby, my new YouTube hobby, because I had completed a video that I wanted to, export and upload to YouTube. And in the middle of doing that, there was a power failure. And my laptop is so broken down now that there is no power at all in the battery, like nothing. So if the power goes out even for a millisecond, a thousandth of a second, computer shuts down and it loses everything it was working on. Like, it doesn't save anything, there's no backups, there's no battery power, so it's not like it can continue running and allow me to save everything before the battery runs out. As soon as the power goes out, it just shuts down and I lose everything. So that already happened today. I think I'd been exporting the file about an hour and a half, and it still was nowhere near done. And then the power went out and I had to start all over again from zero. And when I went up to the front desk to tell them about my problem with the bed bugs, and they offered me a new room, I wasn't expecting them to do that. I thought I could change rooms tomorrow, maybe. I didn't think I'd be able to do it today. So I was in the middle of uploading a file to YouTube, and the internet there is so slow. I was doing it off my phone, so I was using, gigabytes and gigabytes of data on my phone in order to do this. Even my phone doesn't have a good connection in that hotel because it's got such thick, cement walls. But for me to move to a new room, I had to unplug my computer and carry it over to the new room. And I tried to figure out any way I could do this without losing the upload. But there was nothing I could do, and I couldn't really wait. I mean, it was going to take hours to finish the upload. So I had no choice but to unplug the computer. Beep, the whole thing shut down. Move the computer to my new room, and now I just basically have to start all over again. So we're not doing so well as far as that is concerned here in my my new lovely Riverside town.